I have Grace on today, a #1 podcast, TikTok girly.
On TikTok, there's a creator fund, but you make no money off of that. You'll get 1 million views and they're like, have 50p. Everything I've done has been a complete accident. So now I'm a bit wary. I think people assume when you're on social media, they're like,
yeah,
you must be thick. What do you do? Sit in front of a camera. I save all my money.
Really?
And I don't know why, because when I had like no money, I'd always spend it.
I have Grace on today. Also, are you also known as GK Barry?
Yeah, I'm known as whatever.
Grace.
Really, wherever the wind blows you to.
Fabulous.
You can call me.
I love it. And what I love is that you have built such a big platform, a #1 podcast, TikTok girly.
Keep going.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Is it 2.5 million at this point in time?
2.9.
2.9. Oh, I
know.
love that
She's risen.
You updated me on that extra 400,
Fact check.
500,000.
Yeah.
That is what we need to know. So you've been slaying, basically.
I have. I don't know where it's come from.
When did you start?
Lockdown. I was one of those lockdowns people that just came out the cracks.
All you lockdown people,
I
I'm going to call you lockdown babies because all of a sudden they just popped out of nowhere.
We were like a disease. We spread. And also no one had a TikTok career really apart from Madison Rae.
Yeah.
Before, so I was like, no, well, I'm not going to create a career off of this. And then I did and I was like, well.
It's insane.
I'll take that.
Well, that period of time was actually the most valuable for many, many people.
Honestly,
online.
I'm so glad I started because I was like, oh, what if people find me? And then I thought, can I swear?
Yeah.
Screw them.
We're swearing. Yeah. At this point in time, we are.
The way I paused, I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad I did that.
Were you just like, I'm bored, I'm just going to create? And did you have like a plan or anything like that?
No, like I remember my first one was me miming to a Gemma Collins one off like Big Brother and it got no views and I kept doing random stuff like that. And then one day I videoed a guy running outside my house and I was like, hunk, like I'm getting my gym gear on. And then it just randomly blew up and I thought, right, let me try and make more videos like that. And then I did.
Yeah.
And then it just went from there. So I was like, fine.
Was it your voice? But did you like have a little moment like you're giving GK Barry energy?
I don't know why. I just knew if I tell a story in this sort of over dramatized accent, it'll be way funnier. And I did it. And it like every time I do that, I'd get the views. So I was like, right, let me put that on. But I think I've calmed down a bit with that now.
Is that something you did in your real life as well? Like some people naturally put on an accent.
To be fair, yeah, but like my whole friendship group does it. Like sometimes we'll say something in like a northern accent or whatever. We'll do loads of different accents. So I don't think it's weird. And then I'll meet other people and they're like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, oh no, fair enough.
Yeah,
like, it's a bit weird.
It's just for you and your group.
Yeah, I'm like shape-shifting where I'm from. It's weird, yeah.
I love that. Where are you from? You're a Londoner?
Cambridge. Bikes and that.
What is I was going to ask, what's the claim to fame of Cambridge besides the university?
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't anywhere near that, unfortunately.
Right. Okay.
I'd say the bikes and a man who did something scientific. Albert? No.
Not Einstein?
No.
Someone's
got to Google this. Someone's got to fact check me. But someone did something sciencey.
Yeah.
And he was from Cambridge and it clearly wasn't me. But
yeah, I love that. Okay, fine. Well, Cambridge, it's nice. There's rivers there.
There's punts and that.
Punting.
Yeah,
on the
love
river.
that. Only been once, never again.
It's fabulous.
Scary.
But taking it back then, I realised or I read that you didn't get your GCSEs. You weren't. So what was school saying for yourself?
Oh my God. I was, when people online are like, set 8, that was me. Like I was I don't think I was thick. I think I was just a bit like, in myself at school.
Yeah.
Bit of a weirdo, obviously. And then, so I didn't really get any GCSEs. I think I got drama. And I thought, we can do a lot with the C in drama, can't I?
Not even an A
Not
in
even,
drama.
Yeah, I just really scraped the barrel on that. And then I went to something which is nicknamed Cambridge Reject College. And then I was like, right, I'm going to really try and work hard. So I got my maths there. And then I got like level 3, went my way up to level 3 so that I could go to uni.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe I'll just go to uni. Like, why not?
But you wanted it then, even though like you didn't do so well in your GCSEs, you still were like, no, I'm going to push forward and see what's possible.
At the time, I had like a boyfriend or whatever, and he was just, I don't know what he was doing with his life. And I'm like from a small town, and I was like, surely I can't live like this, because everyone around me is either just having kids and staying there. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but God forbid, like that was not for me. So I was like, right, the only way I'm going out is I've got to go to uni. And my dad was like, yeah, you're going. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go if you're going. And then went to uni, loved it. And I feel like I really came out of my shell in uni.
Found yourself.
A lot less shy. Yeah, I was like, when people go to Thailand and find themselves. I did that in Nottingham. So it was good. Yeah,
There's 2 unis. There's Nottingham, Trent.
I went to Trent.
That's the fate.
That's the the creative one is what we like to say. The other, we're like ops with the other ones.
Yeah.
The other one's really posh. They all have mullets, all arseholes. And we're just all the ones that didn't make it in there. Yeah.
Because there's Manchester Uni and then there's Manchester Met.
Yeah,
I went to the Met, but I would always drop the Met and say I went to Manchester. I went to university in Manchester.
When I was at Cambridge Reject College, I go, no, I go Cambridge.
Claiming,
darling. Yeah, they would never know. How would
they
know? To be
fair, if you went to America, they wouldn't know the difference. It could be like
they
still
think it's
College
in London.
In the UK.
So yeah, whatever. I say I'm doing it with the Queen and they believe it.
Yeah,
like, I'll take it.
I love it. So you graduated, and what was the situation after that?
So I've literally just graduated in September, because I graduated my bachelor's the year before, but I'd missed out a year because of COVID, and I was like, I'm not done getting drunk yet with no responsibilities. So I was like, let me do a master's, not thinking how difficult that was. I did that, I thought, Jesus. But then I managed to do that, and then I finished in September, and then my manager was like, I cannot wait for you to finish, because I was having to travel down to London every week, doing all these ads while trying to do them art. It was so stressful, but now I'm finished.
You've got so much time on your hands now to scale.
Might have too much, yeah.
The reality is you've been balancing not only a degree, a master's degree, lockdown, and building a social media platform.
And drinking.
And enjoying yourself in that process.
Yeah.
What the hell, and how did you manage all of that? What did you do to balance it all?
Do you know what? I don't actually know, because it feels like a blur. Like I remember I'd have uni and then I'd come home, I'd do my ads, and then sometimes I'd have to just go off to London after that. And I remember there's so many times where I'd call my manager crying like, I can't do it. And she'd be like, grow up. And I'd be like, yeah, fair play. Oh, wow. I'll get a grip now. But it was so stressful. Like a lot of people, when I was telling them, they were like, I could not do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I did it, because I'm not organised, but I just did it. And I'm glad that I did, because I think people assume when you're on social media, they're like, you must be thick. What do you do? Sit in front of a camera, which is true. But I also have that to fall back on to just pull out.
Oh, you're the second TikTok star I've spoken to with a master's degree.
Love
so
that.
I'm loving this here.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that I do think that people want to balance, like still having some, traditional training. Just in case.
This is what I mean. Social media, like my account could get deleted, and realistically, what then have I got? This is why I'm trying to do like other stuff, because if I was just on TikTok and my account got deleted, I'd be like, well,
what are you going to do
school
now?
Yeah.
Or your amazing personality would get you far.
Do you know what?
Wouldn't
I'll
it?
Take that.
No?
Maybe we can only hope. Christ.
Love that. So again, you kind of have blown up off of the back of one viral piece of content, and then you just continue to follow through and push it. What do you think has made you like stand out in this space and like have an audience that connected with you?
I think it's finding like your niche type of stuff. Because I remember I struggled for ages being like, what is my content? Like I do makeup stuff. Thank God I stopped doing that. Like makeup stuff, hauls, and I was like, this just isn't me. And then I started just being like, do you know what? I'm going to tell really embarrassing stuff about myself, or just stuff that no one really talks about because they're too ashamed to talk about. And I did it, and then people loved it because they were like, oh, you're just normal.
Yeah.
So I guess that's maybe what got me my following, because they were like, it's nice to have someone that's relatable.
Yeah.
I guess. And I think that's the thing with TikTok. It's brought along like a lot more relatable people than Instagram did at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm here for that.
So I can 100% relate to that kind of being the relatable person, because I think that was the message I always got, is you're so relatable, you're so normal, all that jazz. And people love like the normality, and they like the chaoticness. I think people love the chaos. Like,
oh my God,
everything's going wrong, or my
Makes
birth
them
story.
feel better about their life.
Yeah.
That's what we're here to do.
But do you feel like there's a point in time where like relatability like is almost like a noose around like someone's neck? Like you have to stay relatable or you're not going to be the person that everyone loved.
I've seen so many people say this where they've grown up and changed a little bit and people are like, well, you're not the same. You're not as relatable, where it's like, I've just grown up and I'm not, like at some point in my life, I'm not going to be sat there getting blackout drunk and then the next day filming myself like, guys, I can't believe what happened last night. Like one day I will have a family and I won't be doing that.
Yeah.
And then I think at that point, people are like, she's changed. So I think there is a pressure to keep doing the content that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just think, go with the times.
And do what feels right as well, isn't it?
You'll lose people and then you'll just gain other people.
Yeah.
So it's whatever.
So true. So in this podcast, we love talking about money, business, the hustle, especially in the influencer industry as well, because, that's what my background's been in. So I'm going to do an ice shaker with you. Ooh. So these are some like juicy questions that I think are here to rattle you and just to find out your opinion around certain money topics and just in general.
Yeah.
So are you saving Grace or a spender?
I am a saver. I save all my money.
Really?
And I don't know why, because when I had like no money, I'd always spend it. But now I feel like now I'm getting money. I'm like, God forbid if I spend this. So yeah, I'm a saver now.
Is the money on TikTok or Instagram or in podcasting?
I think that's a difficult one. But see, my main thing is TikTok because I've got more followers on there. But it's only just been something you can really make money from.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, no one was paying TikTokers. But I'd say TikTok and podcasting is where the money's at too. Love that. Because you've got so many different platforms you can post it on.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So yeah.
Love that. What's the most expensive thing you've ever bought and do you regret it?
My most expensive thing I've ever bought. Do you know what? I'd say what is the most expensive thing I've ever bought? Everything I own is fake, so it's not that. I never spend, maybe like a meal, honestly.
A meal?
Yeah, my manager can vouch for this. I never spend my money. Yeah, I'd say like a really expensive train ticket and that really pisses me off. So no, yeah, I do regret that.
I love that. So you've not been sucked into the world of the flossy life then?
No, I can't. It like really hurts me when I spend my money. Like the day I buy something really expensive, I'll go into a deep hole.
That's good efficiency though.
Thank you.
You'll never be broke.
I'll just live in the pits forever though. So good luck to me. Yeah.
Why do you think most people feel so uncomfortable when it comes to talking about money?
I think it's because people can judge you off it, or it's a vulnerable position to put yourself in, because if you're like, yeah, I make money, then people are like say if you're going out for a meal and people know you've got money, they'll assume you'll pay for it.
Yeah.
So that's like, I don't know, just got to keep it.
Depending on your group of friends.
Yeah, if you've got real friends, then they'll be like, let's half it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you like to half it? Or
to be fair, yeah, I love halving, but sometimes I'll spend it, but oh yeah, I'm stingy. I'm sorry. I'm a stingy girl.
At least you know who you are.
Exactly.
That's fine.
I embrace
efficiency.
It. Thank you.
Good question, actually. Did you come from money or a wealthy family, or was it more like, got to make ends meet? And did that influence you?
It's really random. So started off with quite like good amounts. And then we moved to England with my stepdad and my mum, and my stepdad was having to work like 2 jobs in factories and stuff. So we didn't really have a lot of money. And then we moved to where we are now and we've done everything. So we have good money now.
Yeah.
But it definitely, hasn't been like that all the time. So I think, and I'm from a family that are like, you work. Like as soon as I was 16, they were like, do you think we're giving you money that you were going to go and work? So yeah, I've lived a comfortable life, but the incentive to work was definitely there.
So you said you moved to England. Where did you move from?
So we lived in Tortola when I was younger.
Okay. What? This is going to sound so ignorant. Where is Tortola?
Like BVI, like Trinidad, Tobago, Virgin Gorda areas.
An island I've not heard of.
It's island girl, do you know what I mean?
What?
Yeah.
It's giving island girl.
I know.
Say the island name again.
Tortola. Why did I forget?
No. Is it in the British Virgin Islands?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like,
but it's so small. Like it's tiny.
When did you leave there?
I don't know, when I was like 7, maybe.
But you lived as an island girl until you were 7.
Do you know how funny this is? I've got pictures of me. I could never now. I'd had braids and I was opening coconuts with like on rocks and stuff.
Not the coconut
No, but now I was like, oh, I could never. But
No,
like
you
back then,
could.
I was loving it. And then I remember I came to England and I had like a Caribbean twang, and everyone was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know what's happened to
I
it."
didn't know that. Do the people know this?
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Because my stepdad's from there, so everyone's always like, "Grace is mixed race." I'm like, no,
No, just from
obviously not. No.
Tortola. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fabulous. Well,
But yeah,
that
great
is
times.
a nice bit of geography for me. But I do know the British Virgin Islands.
Yeah,
so
great place.
I'm aware.
Love it.
To be fair, do you ever go back?
We used to quite a lot, but I don't know. Plane prices at the moment, you won't see me again.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just look on Google Images.
Just zoom in.
Hope for the
zoom
best,
in,
yeah.
Island vibes. So what is interesting about TikTok and that platform is that there's a lot of content, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes and it comes. And I think there's a lot of value in it, but people aren't confident about navigating, like building their value on it. And I know you're really interested in intellectual property and recognizing that you as an individual are a brand. What's your approach to that? Have you had to think about that?
When it comes to like building
a brand and having IP and value around that?
I think it's a difficult one because I didn't, when I came into it, I didn't really think about it like that. But as I grew, I was thinking, you've got to do something to get yourself more out into different areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like you've got to think about it, but you've got to also know your audience and what people want from you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So as in you kind of graduated from just random stories, which you probably still do a ton of, but also you focused a lot on podcasting and putting that content on TikTok.
Yeah. And I think so I was like, what more can we do than just TikToks? I feel like, as I said, if something gets shut down or you want people to take you more seriously, so then going into podcasting and then doing other different content and then eventually wanting to go into presenting and stuff. Like I feel like you've got to take the little steps to get a bit further.
Is that something you're interested in doing?
Yeah, I would love to do TV.
Really?
Don't know if I have the mouth for it, but I could just PG that.
No, you definitely give me TV vibes and energy. What I've seen in the past is like in the YouTube space, a lot of people struggled with that transition from actually being good they're great on YouTube, but they're terrible on TV.
Yeah, but it's also like on YouTube, people on YouTube really struggled with TikTok because of the time. But I could never do like YouTube. Like if I could never sit there and be like, what's up, guy? Like I couldn't do the editing. I couldn't do the long, I know I do a podcast, but I would struggle so much with that.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like brains are wired differently. Like for me, I need 45 minutes and a cup of tea for me to really like translate what I want to talk to with people, which is why a podcast is great for me because I'm like, we're going to talk about this right now. Whereas I do think like the brains of like, you know, TikTokers is slightly different.
I guess it's what you're used to as well. Like if I only just started out doing TikTok, now I'm used to getting everything into 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas on a podcast, I remember having to train myself up. I was like, bloody hell, what do we talk about for an hour? Don't talk to anyone for an hour. Really? Yeah, if my boyfriend was on my phone, I'm like, you all right? Do you know what I mean? I could never.
Would you say you're a sociable person and or are you someone who's more introverted?
I am sociable, but I have a really low social battery. So I love being sociable, but then after a while, I'm like, I've got to go and have a nap. Or like, I've just got to go and sit by myself for a bit. Like I did this thing called Locked In where I had to literally be with people 24 hours a day for 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I was just sat there and I'd go to the bathroom and just sit there for a while so I didn't have to talk to anyone. Looked like I had severe IBS, but I was willing to take that chance. I did not care.
You just needed to disappear for a period of time.
Like, mind me.
I think it happens a lot with people who have to be like, they have to be the personality. They have to be on like quite a lot, especially on TikTok, because you come on quite like, hey, here we are, 60 seconds. Could that ever be draining or cause any form of like anxiety or stresses?
I think the only stress for me is because I'm so like that on my TikTok. When people meet me, they expect me to be like that. Like I remember when people first started recognizing me, I'd feel like, okay, I've got to put this on. Like I'm like, oh, you. So I'd be like, oh, because they'd be disappointed if they saw me and I was actually just really mellow. And I think people do get disappointed if they meet you and they were like, oh, she was really off.
Yeah.
When that's not the case. I'm just obviously emphasizing who I am.
Yeah.
Otherwise no one would watch it. So yeah.
There is an element of performance though online, isn't it? To really be to actually like be good on these platforms nowadays. Do you think that anybody has the personality for it, or do you think there's something that you've had to do to kind of build your ability to create confidently online?
I think sometimes it's more maybe you're made to do it a little bit more. I don't know how to describe that, but because my thing's more like an alter ego, and then I'll hide behind it as well when I'm in public.
Yeah.
Like if I'm really anxious, I'll be like, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to put on the GK Barry and they'll never know. And that's actually helped me. But do you know what? I feel like anyone can get a career in it. I know there's one girl on YouTube and she just sits there and she's like, just having plain burger, no bun, having some chips as well. And all she does is she talks about what dry food she's eating and people love it. So I think, do you know what? Anyone can have a career in this.
I love that. I've not seen that, but it's similar to what's it called? ASMR.
That's weird. I
actually don't like it.
They're trying to turn me on,
really
and it's weird.
Jars me that it's really painful.
Very bizarre.
Let's talk about the concept of an alter ego, because I know there's Grace and then there's GK Barry. Was that an intentional decision?
No, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know how this came up. But even my friends were like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But then I think it kind of molded into a thing for me to be more confident, because I'm never like that usually. And I can walk into a room now, say if I'm at an event, and just put on just do I don't even know how to say it, but just like be GK Barry or whatever, as cringe as that sounds.
Yeah.
And be completely fine throughout that event. But if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able, like in normal circumstance, I'd never be able to go into a room like that. Like even before, which is so funny, I could never get on trains. I'd be too scared to go into London. I literally couldn't do anything by myself until I started doing TikTok. And then I was like, right, I'll just do it and I'll put on this act. And then I was fine.
Did it help you build your confidence, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like I'm a completely different person now. I'm a lot more confident, because I'm like, well, if you can do it as that, then why can't you do it normally? So it's really weird. But I think also putting yourself out there, I'm like, if 1 million people have seen me on the internet talking about the most rogue, awful things, I should have nothing to be embarrassed or anxious about, because I've had worse on the internet. So whatever.
From a personal perspective, I really struggle with putting myself on TikTok. Whereas YouTube, I could do it all, like legs out, everything, see it all, hairiness.
Do you know what I think that could be though?
Yeah.
I think, I was talking about this the other day, on YouTube, people that watch you want to watch you.
Yeah.
Like they're going onto your page, they've subscribed.
Me. Yeah.
But on TikTok, you could just randomly appear on loads of random people's For You page. They didn't ask to see you.
Yeah.
And then if they don't want to see you, they'll be like, fuck you, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's a lot more intimidating on TikTok.
Yeah, I really struggle. And it's interesting that you said that it helped build your confidence, even in your real life.
Yeah.
But just by showing up for yourself on a daily basis.
And I feel like as well, the amount of hate that I got when I first started, I was like, it's got to be worse on the internet, because I feel like none of these people would say it to me. So I was like, I don't know, in a weird way, it gave me a bit of confidence.
That is such a good thing. I wish I had that energy.
Though. Yeah. I'm not asking for that. Yeah.
I feel like my vibe is, it's a positive environment. You're safe here. This is a safe room for you. So I hear that you are on your journey of trying to buy your first property.
I am.
Right?
I need your input.
What is that looking like for you? And how are you funding it? Basically?
Let me tell you the vibe for this, right? You can give me your opinion on this, because you've done it all. So what I want to do, right, is I've saved, and I'd say middle of this year, I'll be able to have enough to put down a deposit, cash in hand, just pay it all, not even deposit, just pay it off, right? So I don't want a mortgage.
You don't want a mortgage?
Not down with that. I'm just going to bang it out, right? Just going to do it, okay? I'm scared at your reaction, right?
No, I'm not against being mortgage free.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Keep going.
So I just wanted to do that, right? And I would buy a house somewhere on the outskirts of London. I'm not talking middle London, but I'm talking outskirts, right? And then I'll rent it out, do it up a little bit, rent it out, and then I can rent somewhere in the middle of London so I can travel more easier. I don't know if that makes sense.
Do you know what? I'm not against that. Firstly, shout out to you for being able to buy a house mortgage free.
Thank you. I try.
Am I allowed to do it?
I'm here for it though.
Yeah, so that's an amazing thing. Do I like that as a strategy? I really think it's all dependent on what you personally want. And I love the fact that you know that you want a place in inner London so you can move a bit more, but then you want something on the outskirts, like a family home maybe.
Yeah, this is what I mean. So I'll rent it out. And then when I'm ready, I'll pop in there.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that, but you can't live in a house that is owned by a company.
Right.
So you legally can't do that. So if you buy that under your company, you can't do that.
I've got to do it as actually me, not my company.
Yeah, but if you do buy a house, cash. Oh, let's talk about taxes.
Yeah, this is my struggle
No. So what we're not going to do is, all right. So if you have all the money.
Yeah.
I'm going to be technical, sorry.
I'm ready.
If you have all the money, it's currently in a limited liability company.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
If you can buy a property within that limited liability company, which is a rental property.
Right.
You can definitely do that. You will not be allowed to live in that house based on the law.
Right.
Because it's owned by a company, you're the director. You could pull out the money, say you bought a house for 300,000, put it into your personal name and buy a house. But if you pull out that money, you're going to have to pay at least £150,000 worth of tax.
Yeah.
So you're going to you're going to have to actually take out 500,000 to buy a house for 300,000.
Because of the tax,
So I would not advise doing that, honey.
Right.
So if you want to buy an investment property, if you want to buy the investment property, buy it within a company, that's absolutely fine. But that's just not going to be a personal house. But do you want a personal house?
I could just rent it. I'm just looking to rent a house.
Buy it within your company, but you can't live there.
Fine.
But the profits will go back into the company. So the rental property will receive rental income. That will go into the limited liability company.
Yeah.
But the limited liability company can pay you a salary. So you can increase the amount of salary that you receive from your limited liability company.
Fine.
So if you wanted to be paid £60,000 a year, do that. But do not take out, I'm saying this, do not take out a lump sum in your personal name to buy an investment property. Don't do that.
Okay, fine.
That is free
Is that just murder?
Advice. Basically. You're just going to give the government
I hate giving government my money.
For no reason.
You'll have to fight me for
You're
it.
going to pay 25% corporation tax anyway, right?
Don't I know?
So you don't know that?
No, don't I know?
Oh, yeah.
Do I?
Right. Please put money aside for the taxes. So no matter what, you're going to give them, as of April, I think it's 2023, 25%. So here you go, Uncle Tom.
Kiss all that goodbye.
There you go. Have that. But don't pay 25% tax. Then take the money and then pay 40% tax.
That would physically hurt my heart.
65% of your income going to actually taxes.
That's disgusting.
We don't.
That was good advice, though. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. So,
just adult life is so stressful.
I know.
Why can't it be like Monopoly?
Yeah, this is real money. This is one of my statements I say nowadays. It's not Monopoly money. Yeah, it's real money at this point in time. I know.
Even paying my phone bill was a shock. I was like,
is it more expensive now you're on TikTok?
Yeah. No, but like I was like, you know what, I'm going to get a really good phone. And then I saw the contracts. I was like, oh,
yeah. It's real life.
Hell in there, yeah.
A monopoly. So how did monetization work for you when it came to creating your to TikTok? Because I'm sure you didn't plan to start off making money, but it grew in that way.
So to start off with, it's on TikTok, there's a creator fund, but you make no money off of that. Like you'll get 1 million views and they're like, have 50p.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've paid off my mortgage. There's just no money in it. So you'll do like ads. So like obviously companies will say like promote this and you'll get money from that. And that's mainly the source of income of TikTok, Instagram. And obviously the podcast is a separate thing because you still get it from ads, but you also get it from like promoting it on certain platforms like Snapchat. Snapchat's a really good payer for having your podcast on there and they'll do really good clickbaits. People click on it.
Yeah.
So it's like the more clicks you get, the more money you get.
Oh, really?
So,
Snapchat?
Yeah. Snapchat's actually where the money is at nowadays.
Snapchat?
I never knew this.
Snapchat sponsored this podcast.
Yeah. But like you'll see like influencers or whatever, on Snapchat doing loads of stories. And that's because you can make so much money the more subscribers and stuff you have on Snapchat.
I did not know
Neither
this.
did I, missing out.
This is the reality. There's so many platforms and different ways to monetize. And I
Yeah.
think people can really work out what option works for them and work out what format works for them.
I think it depends what kind of content you do as well. Like if you're not into the long form, like Snapchat would be great because all you got to do is post a few stories and you're rolling in it.
Rolling in the dough on Snapchat.
Silly us.
That.
We're not.
Fabulous. So what kind of companies do you work for and how did you manage the process of working with them?
So when I first joined my management, I remember Hannah was saying to me, she was like, I'm not going to lie, we're going to try and get you work, but it's a struggle because people don't want to work with TikTokers because they don't see you as serious. So at the start, I was working with really rogue, like anyone that would work with, not in that way, but as in like people that would work with me, I'd just be like, fine, I'll take it. But now working with like clothing brands, Prime, beat like streaming services, Lionsgate, stuff like that I work with now. But sometimes before I do a lot of stuff that didn't really fit my content just because I was like, you know what, it's an income. But now a lot more select, I'd say. Yeah.
Do you feel like working with brands ever tarnished your brand in the past? Like you did anything that you regretted?
That's a good one. I'd never say I regretted doing an ad, but sometimes I feel like sometimes they give you briefs which are just so not you.
Oh,
they're like, I want you to jump into that frame and be like, what's up, guys? I've got this most amazing set of eyelashes for you. Like I'd ever sit there and do that normally. Like I think sometimes I wish I'd said no to companies that weren't flexible with the briefs because it performs better. If I say, let me come up with an idea for this concept, 100% it would blow up way more than it would if they gave me a script.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I regret sometimes is just, Jesus.
I mean, I've had that a few times where I've received something and I've said, what the hell is this? And sometimes I've had the energy to be like, push back and be like, I hate this, don't do this, come on guys, do this.
Yeah.
But then sometimes they just what they want. A company may want what they want. And I've just delivered. But I've toe-cold in the process.
I think sometimes as well, you can be blinded by money. If you're not used to money and you all of a sudden a brand's like, here, have this amount. I'd like to start with, I'd be like, I'm not questioning that. Fine, I'll do it, whatever, I'll sell my soul. But now I'm a lot more like I know what I want to do and I'll say no. I think at the start, it's hard to say no. As much as everyone likes to say they don't, sometimes you don't, whatever.
It is what it is. It's all about like the journey and growing as well.
Yeah.
So where do you see things going for yourself in the future? Because this is really at the beginning of your career, really.
It feels so weird that it's at the beginning because I feel like I'm like, Jesus, I feel like I've done... Do you know sometimes you feel like you've fallen off already, but even though you haven't? I know, because you know all the stress of it, but feeling. I feel like I'd love to just build my name more in different sectors. Like I want to have my own little businesses. I want to make my way onto TV. Like I want to be more of a name to older people than to just the younger generation. Because obviously now, like if you said to maybe a 15-year-old, oh, GK Bride, but yeah, I love GK Bride. But if you said that to like a 30-year-old, sometimes like they're like, who?
Right.
What is that? Like I'd like to really broaden my audience.
Do you feel like that's a bad thing that you appeal to a younger audience? And why do you think that might be?
It's a great thing, but I think it would just be good to have a really broad audience. Like, because I think some of the stuff that I say is great for younger people, but then some people, I guess, maybe won't get it. Or a good example of this is some like creators on TikTok, they started off with very PG like content and they had really young audiences. And then when they just started being themselves a bit more vulgar, the young audience really kicked back and were like, you're our role model. You should not be doing this. And I think, I don't know, it's nice to just have a bigger audience to play with. Yeah.
Amazing. Did you know that your podcast is like a number one podcast? And how did you feel about that kind of label?
So I remember in the first 2 weeks it was number one and then it's still in the charts. But I remember one of my producers was like, do you know it's like the number one like leading women's podcast in the UK? And I was like, no. Wow. Like I had absolutely no clue. I still don't really believe, like, I know it's that, but it's hard to believe. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's crazy because a lot of people now recognise me for my podcast and not my TikTok. Like, when people come up to me, they're like, love your pod.
That's what I see more. Like, I've definitely seen your podcast over actually your clips.
Yeah, 100%. So it's really weird because before it would be like, oh my God, your TikTok. But now people, like, if you say, oh, I know GK Barry, some people are like, who? And they're like, Saving Grace. And they're like, oh.
Do you have a roadmap for success and to get here? Or was it all just like,
all fluke?
Let's see where we go?
All quit. Like, I didn't even want to do a podcast. I remember when my manager said it to me, I was like, no, I don't think I'm made to do that. I'm going to stick to TikTok. And then the opportunity came and I was like, why not? And then I was like, oh my God, I love doing this. So everything I've done, TikTok, accident, everything I've done has been a complete accident. So now I'm a bit wary of being like, this is my 5-year plan, because I feel like if I just have to go with the flow now and these doors will open.
Yeah.
And if they don't, there's no pressure on it.
Yeah. There's this term like failing upwards, like just when people just do stuff and they fall and then they get up and they get up and they end up where they really want to be.
I can't put pressure on myself because that's like, even when I was studying, if I put pressure on myself for an assignment or whatever, I just wouldn't do it. I'd just like completely block it off and be like, no. So my way of doing things is to just hope for the best, basically.
Hold on to the ride.
Literally hold on. If I go, I go.
I love that. So I have a segment called Time is Money, quick fire questions around money and values in general. So something you spend way too much time on?
TikTok.
What do you want to make more time for?
I'd say my friends.
A lot of people say this.
At that last year. Sorry.
What's something you really value that is a non-negotiable?
Oh, effort. Is that like a good answer? Like, I really value if someone makes effort.
Right.
And it's not just a thing where it's like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
I don't even know
you
if
need
that's
them to
answer.
care about.
Yeah, I feel like effort on all parts, work, social life. I'm an effort girl.
Would you cut off a guy if they weren't making a lot of effort?
Yeah, I'm lucky my boyfriend puts in a lot of effort.
There we go.
Yeah. You're safe. Yeah.
What's your biggest money motto?
Don't spend a penny unless you have to.
And then
that's my motto. Yeah, exactly.
Love it. The biggest thing that's helped you keep on top of your finances and manage your money?
Ooh, I think the one thing that's made me realize I need to really take hold of it is imagining I know I just said I don't have a 5-year plan, but as in like imagining where I want to be in a few years. And then that's being like, okay, we can't spend your money like that, or you can't do that. So I think imagine where you want to be and then work your life around that. And Adam Sandler's a good one. That man dresses like he's homeless.
He really does.
He doesn't spend his money. Look at him.
Yeah. That's fab. And if your bank account could talk, what would it say right now?
Let me out. I'd say.
It wants
let me out of here.
I love that. Well, thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me on.
And sharing. Where can everyone find you?
Where the wind takes you. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Hope you don't stumble upon there, but if you do,
You've got a new channel, right?
I'm starting a new series on there. So that will be, I think it's called GK Barry, or it's called GK Barry X. We'll have a look.
We love that.
But yeah, stay tuned for that. Can't say too much, but it should be a barrel of laughs.
Fabulous. Well, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Yay.